Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, and today we got to check out this video, man, from my guy over at BCP. Hey, MSNBC, CNN, and all the other liberal mainstream propaganda machines out there, they're down bad. They're down bad. Joy Reid ratings down 54%. Ari Melber down 49.6%. Chris Hayes ratings down 47.2%. And the list goes on and on and on. Joy Reid, hands down, has to be the most racist individual on TV. If Joy Reid was a white man or a white woman spitting out the venom and the foolery that comes out of her mouth, the type of rhetoric that comes out of her mouth, she would have been canceled a long time ago. But because she is a black woman, she gets away with the unimaginable. And it's just so sad because we live in America. We are Americans. We are more of the same than we are different. We're all dealing with these high gas prices. We're all dealing with these high interest rates. We're all dealing with these high food costs. We're all dealing with, the lack of security, in our communities because of our open border situation. We're all dealing with, a piss poor education system if you have kids in these public school or public indoctrination camps. We're all dealing with it. But yet you have some of the most insufferable people making millions and millions of dollars pushing propaganda and fake news down the throats of, so many Americans, man. And I'm just sick and tired of it, man. And I'm glad to hear that MSNBC, it's probably going to be sold or broken down and sold for parts. I would assume that a lot of these people are going to lose jobs, and it's going to be glorious to see. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this video, man. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you smash that like button, watch the video all the way through. That's the best way to support the channel. Without further ado, let's go.
Hey, I just want to give some free advice to the white progressives, particularly white progressive women who may be thinking about marching against the Trump victory, maybe putting back on the P-word hats and doing that thing. I would just say probably don't send any of those invites to any black women I'm just going to tell you right now, they're not coming. I'm pretty sure black women have resigned from the Save America Coalition, Save Democracy Coalition, and definitely the Save the Democratic Party Coalition. I think that's probably not happening. I would just keep those invites maybe among your own friends because I don't think they're coming.
Nobody's checking for this lady. I don't know if you guys know it. She's making almost $5 million a year.
But yeah, I think black women.
If she was not black, she, one, wouldn't be able to talk like this, but two, she probably would have been fired a long time ago.
Men are now on the Save Black Women, Prioritize Black Men, and Prioritize Black Communities, Black Businesses, and that, the black spaces, but Save America, Save the Democratic Party. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about the collapse of the mainstream liberal media, which is in full swing following the Trump landslide victory over Kamala Harris. Okay, if you guys have been paying attention to the stock market, right? The stock market has been skyrocketing ever since Trump won the election, and what's happening to MSNBC and CNN's ratings are the exact opposite of that, right? It's the exact opposite, okay? Their ratings are plummeting into the ground. As you can see here,
Not only the stock market, man, but Bitcoin is going crazy right now. It might hit 100,000 per coin. I mean, this is insane what's going on right now since the announcement of Trump's last week. I mean, it's just been crazy.
Reid down 54.6%. Ari Melber down 49.6%. Chris Hayes down 47.2%. Alex Wagner down 53.6%. Morning Joe down 39.6%. Stephanie Rule down 67%. Andre Michelle down 39.7%. Now, again, this comes after MSNBC, let's just say they did not have a good night on election night.
All the anticipation, all the excitement, all the anxiety, all the doom scrolling, all the manic refreshing of polling averages, it has all been leading to this hour. And we know you have every choice in the world for where to spend tonight, so we're really grateful that you're spending it with us, and we hope you'll be with us through the duration.
How's everybody doing? First time voting?
Yes.
How you feeling?
Good.
You guys doing okay too?
Yes, we're doing great. Kamalala.
I was going to ask who you're going to vote for, but I didn't need to.
Kamalala. Because voice matters.
First time voting. As you know, this is where the Harris campaign wants to drive up the numbers to sort of counteract that T in the middle of Pennsylvania.
So sad, man. The brainwashing that they were able to accomplish is just so unfortunate. And you have so many young women out there who were voting on a topic that it's not even a topic. You know, pregnancy termination is not what you should be basing your vote off of. But for whatever reason, this Harris campaign, they decided to put everything on that one particular issue, man. And they failed big time, man.
To counteract the rural votes that the Trump campaign is expected to get.
And so what you've seen in the last couple of weeks, if this is an audition for managing a complex organization like the United States, Kamala Harris has passed the audition flawlessly. This has been, in many ways, a perfect campaign. And what the campaign is talking about now is the granular get out the vote effort that you just don't see on the other side. On the other side, you're seeing Charlie Kirk going on X Twitter this morning and begging people to vote.
The last week has been a very good close for Kamala Harris, not a good close for Donald Trump. He hasn't been able to fill the rallies. He's addled. He has racist comedians opening up. Whatever. It's been a trashy week for Donald Trump.
A few moments later.
But it sounds like the Harris campaign is sort of keeping things tight in terms of whether or not they're going to string people along into thinking this is going to happen.
What they went to that venue tonight hoping to see and witness was a historic election of Kamala Harris to the presidency.
Yeah.
Was the end of the Trump era as they knew it. And so we don't know the outcome yet, but that is not what they are receiving, and they are being
Oh, they knew the outcome. They knew the outcome. They just didn't want to say it.
told to go home and wait till tomorrow.
And nothing that was true yesterday about how flawlessly this campaign was run is not true now. I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. Queen Latifah never endorses anyone. She came out and endorsed. You know, I mean, she had every prominent celebrity voice. She had the Swifties. She had the Beehive. Like, you could not have run a better campaign.
In Western Europe and in the UK and in the Middle East, people are waking up to this.
Oh, and they are.
I've gotten people from Western Europe who are extraordinarily alarmed and terrified.
May I reiterate, there are 2 of the 7 swing states that have been called by NBC News right now, which is Georgia and North Carolina. None of the other 5 states have been called at this point. You can see this is the battleground states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, the so-called blue wall. None of those states called by NBC News. In the swing state of Pennsylvania, NBC News now projects that presidential contest has been won by Donald Trump. It presents an insurmountable future here for Kamala Harris and for the Democratic ticket. Let's watch as Trump takes the stage in Palm Beach, Florida.
Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Boy, it's going to be a real tough speech for her.
Yeah, so it's not a good night for MSNBC, okay? Like I told you guys, in response to Kamala Harris losing, okay, and the viewers being gaslit for 4 years straight with nonstop far-left propaganda, they are now abandoning the network. Again, you have hosts like Joy Reid, who's a full-blown race hustler. Her ratings are down 54.6%, right? That's a lot. She's lost more than half of her audience. I mean, is anybody surprised? I mean, she basically told white progressive women, probably her main audience, her core audience, hey, us black women aren't going to really help you out anymore, okay? In fact, Joy Reid is doubling and tripling down on the identity politics on her network, on her channel, because she's upset that white women did not vote in line with Kamala Harris, the fake black woman. Take a look.
As we try to unpack exactly what happened in last week's election and how Donald Trump won, there's one particularly disingenuous argument that has emerged.
I think one of the losers here is condescending identity politics.
We constantly try to parse out different ways of speaking to different cohorts because our focus groups or our polling shows that so-and-so appeals to such and such. That's not how normal people think.
The dominance of identity politics on the left, which made it push for all kinds of DEI policies that largely came out of the urban academic bubble, but alienated many mainstream voters.
The idea that identity politics was the problem for Democrats is laughable, considering it wasn't Vice President Kamala Harris who relentlessly focused on race or gender, either her own or anyone else's. That would be Donald Trump. In fact, it was Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, who ran an identity politics entire campaign focused on men. They have an identity too, you know. I mean, Trump did walk out to the song, "It's a Man's World" at the Republican convention. And again, all the focus on identity politics came from Trump and Vance, not Democrats.
That's why no one is watching them anymore. That's why her numbers are down over 50%. How do you get on here the next day and just flat out lie like y'all hadn't been talking about all the different, identities out there? Black women, white women, trans folks, alphabet community folks. I mean, these people went down the list of identity politics. The entire DNC convention was based on identity politics. These people are outrageous, and that's why people are no longer watching them like that. That's why. It's just outrageous, man.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. We're talking a lot about Venezuela because Aurora is really infected by Venezuela, but they're coming from all countries.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools.
Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
Yeah. So again, this is why Joy Reid has lost over half her audience. Okay. This is why she is taking into obscurity, is because of the constant gaslighting and lying on her show, right? I mean, imagine.
Without a doubt.
Being a journalist with a straight face going on national television and saying, yeah, Kamala Harris and Democrats, they didn't run on identity politics, when all we heard about for the past 3 or 4 months is how you must vote for Kamala Harris because she's a black woman. In fact, that's the only argument they had for supporting Kamala Harris, is that you got to support her because she's black and she's a woman. And if you don't, then you're racist, right? You're sexist and you're bigoted, okay? That's essentially what the main argument was, okay? So I don't know, man. Joy Reid, I think she's really lost the plot here, but she's not the only MSNBC host struggling to cope with the reality of another Trump presidency. You also have other woke anchors at MSNBC struggling as well, too.
Barry O, he got out and did the same exact thing. Barry O got out there and told black men, hey, the brothers got to step up and got to go support, this faux black woman. I mean, you can't run your campaign on vote for me because I'm black and think that that's going to work. It worked the first time with Barack Obama, but he also brought something that we hadn't seen to American politics before. Obviously, a younger black man, a little bit of swag. He really got the, he really got the entertainment world, the athletes into that space. That playbook, you ran it, it worked. That playbook doesn't work anymore. And the fact that they did not come with any policy that made sense to the American people, and we see how foolish this current administration has been when you look at the people that they've hired in this administration. I mean, it is the weirdest, creepiest, collection of or coalition of kooky characters that I've ever seen before, in a space like this. You wouldn't hire half of these people to work for your company, more or less serve the government and serve the people of the United States. But this is what this particular administration did. It was all about DEI, checking boxes. They didn't care if a person was qualified or not. They didn't care. We just need to check a box. First trans this, first woman this, first that. It didn't matter if they could do the job or not. And the American people, we got a chance to see what it looks like if you hire we got a chance to see what a DEI administration looked like, and it was a abject failure, to say the least.
The thing that I'm grappling with is that someone was elected who ran a campaign that was openly hostile, openly racist, xenophobic, misogynistic, transphobic, everything. And yet now the election's over. folks accept the results. But now, how do we move forward when we know there are people have people in their families who voted for him? They work with people who voted for him. They live next to people who voted for him. How should we deal with those neighbors, co-workers, family members?
How do you interact with people who you know voted for this? Right? If you are an LGBTQ person and you know someone in your family voted essentially against your rights, or you're a woman knowing that, this man was calling people the B word, J.D. Vance was literally calling Kamala Harris the trash and said, we're going to take out the trash. I know a lot of Black women were incredibly triggered by that. And if you then meet somebody and they voted for the people who called you trash, or if you're Puerto Rican, and someone voted that way, do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up.
So I love that you asked this question because, there is a push, I think just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood, and I'm not going to be around you this holiday. I need to take some space for me. And I actually talked to, adults as well as advising parents for children. I mean, I think, I don't think that you should force children. I don't think you should force adults to be around people just because they're your family. I think there's a level of, need to establish boundaries. And if you feel like you need to establish boundaries with people, whether they're your family or not, I think you should very much be entitled to do so. And I think it may be essential for your mental health.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. This is... In 2020, when Joe Biden won, there was a lot of people that I know that voted for Joe Biden. They're still friends. They're still family. Even now, there are people that supported, Kamala Harris, even though if you did, you were basically supporting your own demise, but you're still friends. You're still family. Typically, I try not to have those types of conversations with people too tough, just due to the fact that it can get, a little contentious and things of that nature. But the fact that you have this woman on here who I would, I'm guessing, I'm speculating here, but I would assume she's probably not married and doesn't have a family like that. I'm sure she has some siblings and coworkers and, friends like that. But to be advocating for not hanging around your family, not being around, your friends, your loved ones during the holidays because of who they voted for is just asinine to me. It really is. And it just goes to show you how off the Democratic Party is and those that support the Democrat Party. Now, we know that they are the anti-family. So I guess it should not surprise me that you have someone like this advocating for you separating yourself from people who look at things a little differently than you. I mean, it's just so sad that that's where we are today in American politics, that we had a free and fair election. Yes, your candidate lost, but you're willing to disown your own family off of a choice. That right there is it's just diabolical, to be honest with you, man. It really is. Because in the grand scheme of things, this is still your country. Trump is still your president. And regardless of the fact that you like him or not, you should be praying that he's making the right decisions, appointing the right people, and hopefully pointing us in the right direction. That should be your prayer, regardless of the fact that you don't like him or not. I mean, it's just awful. And when you look at everything that's transpired over these past 4 years, when you look at the amount of layoffs, when you look at how expensive things have gotten, how high gas has gotten, how expensive food has gotten, the amount of people that are applying for, unemployment had skyrocketed, over the past couple of weeks. This time around, I just seen a report where it said that we just hit a low for the first time, in about a year of unemployment claims. We just hit a low this past week. And you have people out here advocating to separate from their family based off of a choice that they made politically when they're supposedly the party of democracy. They're supposed to be the party of tolerance. They're supposed to be the party of inclusiveness. But everything about them, their rhetoric, their ideology, it all screams the opposite. And it's just so unfortunate, man. That's sad. But I am glad to see that the American people not only spoke last week, Tuesday, but they're speaking right now by deciding to cut the cord or cut off these far left progressive propaganda networks. Because I'm a firm believer that, yeah, you got a chance to go out and vote, but you can vote every day with your dollars, with your time, with your eyeballs. You vote every day. Those of you guys that sit here and watch me on a day-to-day basis, I appreciate it because I know there are so many other channels. There are so many other things that you could be doing other than sitting here with me for a few minutes on a day-to-day basis. And I appreciate you guys. I don't take it for granted. But I think that these networks and the people like Joy Reid's and the Rachel Maddow's and, all these people, I think that they've taken the American people for granted. I think the Democrat Party, they took the American people for granted. They thought that they could force feed their woke, far left progressive ideology, and they thought that the American people would just sit down and take it. And I've been saying this for a long time. This election, it really isn't about me. Yes, I want to see things get better for myself. Absolutely. But this is really about my children, my future grandchildren. This is about my nieces and my nephews, my godchildren that are in elementary school. I want them to go to school and learn reading, writing, arithmetic. I don't want them learning about, the 1,000 genders that these people done made up. I don't want them learning about sexual education in too early in school. That's not what we're here for. I want people hired based off of their merit, not because they check a box of being a part of the alphabet community or they're a woman or the color of their skin. We got to get back to a sense of normalcy in this country. And then when you look at the spending over these past 4 years, now Biden told us that they wanted to raise taxes on us. And then we find out the amount of money that's being wasted. Oh my gosh, man. It's just, the more that comes out, the more I believe that we definitely made the right decision by putting President Donald Trump back in office and making him the 47th president of the United States of America. The more that comes out, I am really, really happy to see it. And, it just warms my heart to see that the American people are rejecting this progressive ideology. We got a ways to go. We definitely do. And even though we disagree with those people on the left politically, they're still Americans. They're still our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our uncles, our aunts. They're still that. And we should respect them as such. The last thing we want to do, one, is have a political conversation at Thanksgiving. You probably shouldn't do that. But two, the last thing you want to do is be disowning your fellow man based off of their political choice and the direction that they would like to see this country headed or go in. We should be working towards coming together as Americans, coming together as family. That's what we should be working towards. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Shout out to Greg, man. And that dude does great work on a day-to-day basis, man. Shout out to that brother, man. Black Conservative Perspective. I'm going to put the link to the full video in the description box if you want to watch that without my commentary. Shout out to that brother there, man. But hey, consider joining the ARP family. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.